$48 million power ritual.
Jeff Bezos' wedding just fired up, and the drama is already off the charts. Jeff and his soon-to-be wife Lauren really thought they could just buy out Venice for their big day, but boom, they got hit with a harsh reality. Stars like Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, and even Oprah to be greeted by a sea of angry protesters. Jeff can't cover up the truth that nobody wants him rolling through their city with that flashy $50 million wedding. The vibe is tense, and folks are straight up fed up. So here's the scoop. Bezos is set to marry his fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, this weekend, and people are heated. The Amazon boss has so much cash that he literally forced locals out of their own neighborhoods just to throw his wedding bash. That's wild. They're calling it the royal wedding of the US, but usually royal weddings get love from the people, right? Not this time. Instead of cheers, Jeff's getting booed left and right, and the city is overflowing with outrage. Ain't nobody happy about this wedding except Jeff and Lauren. They're throwing a 3-day blowout that's racking up a jaw-dropping $50 million price tag. When you've got billions in the bank, you could either help fix global hunger or throw a wedding straight out of a Hollywood script. And guess what? They picked the wild wedding instead. They're stacking up events left and right, including a masquerade ball and even a foam party on Jeff Bezos' giant super yacht. It's like something out of a crazy movie for real.
Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez just threw a wild foam party on their $500 million yacht, right as protesters vow to block their wedding in Venice. While the world watches and critics grow louder, the couple is soaking in sun and soap, completely unfazed by the chaos surrounding them.
The themes are so over the top, it almost doesn't feel real. Can you even picture being Jeff or Lauren chilling on that yacht while crowds of protesters are screaming about how messed up it all is? That's awkward. But here's the deal. Jeff and Lauren aren't just mega rich, they crave the spotlight. There are plenty of billionaires out there who keep things low-key, but these two love the cameras flashing. And now they've turned Venice into their own playground, while the world watches in disbelief. But of course, Jeff and Lauren aren't about that quiet life. They've got the entire Kardashian crew rolling through. Kim, Khloe, Kendall, and Kylie all showed up. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble pulled up too, alongside Orlando Bloom, Tom Brady, Oprah, and even Ivanka Trump. Katy Perry was missing, but I spotted Gayle King, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. Just like when she took that awkward space flight. Seriously, Gayle, if you keep making that same face, people are gonna think you're trapped or something, being dragged to these wild stunts like blasting off to space, or now this insane wedding. And don't even get me started on the wedding invitation. I swear, it looked so basic I could have thrown it together myself. And I'm no design genius, like come on! I've done more with a sweatshirt I designed than they did with that invite. The invite even told guests not to bring gifts because let's be real, that's the last thing Jeff and Lauren need. But the way this invitation mysteriously hit the media is shady. It was a crystal clear scan, no fuzz at all, which makes you wonder if they wanted it leaked to stir up the hype. These two know how to keep all eyes on them, no matter what. Some folks straight up asked if that wedding invite was made in Microsoft Paint. It's a total disaster. Money clearly can't buy taste or class because that invite is ugly as ever, with all the billions Jeff's got. They could have picked something elegant and stylish, but nah, it looks like an 11-year-old whipped it up. That's why I'm saying even I could have made it since it's so plain and basic.
I'm not getting married, so I know I don't really have skin in the game, but this is the ugliest wedding invite I have ever seen for someone of this status. Like, you are a billionaire. Why are you using like butterfly word art on your wedding invite, Jeff Bezos? This is embarrassing. Like, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
But here's one decent move. Since they're refusing wedding gifts, they're telling guests to donate to a few different charities instead. At least they're trying to give something back to Venice, considering they basically took over the whole place for their wedding blowout.
Says, please, no gifts. I would surely hope not. If you're my buddy who's a billionaire, I would hope that my presence is the present. Do we really expect the groom who created Amazon to, I don't know, have an Amazon registry? No, I don't think so.
These wild celebrations are stretching over a few days with around 200 to 250 people set to show up for the madness. But here's the kicker. Even after blowing a mind-blowing $50 million on this wedding, Jeff and Lauren might not even be legally married after all this. Can you picture dropping 50 mil and still not being officially hitched? A senior official from Venice Town Hall told the Daily Mail that their union isn't legally recognized under Italian law, which hints they probably tied the knot back in the States before throwing this over-the-top bash. The official made it clear, unless they already handled the paperwork somewhere else or plan another ceremony later, they are not actually married in Italy. No way! Now, it makes sense they might have gotten legally married before coming over, but there's always that tiny chance they didn't. I mean, Jeff's so stacked with cash that marrying Lauren means she'd be walking away with a chunk of that fortune, no matter what, prenup or not. That's got to keep him thinking. This whole thing is feeling more like a mega flex party than an actual wedding, and the legal details are still shady. I'm pretty sure Jeff is the same dude whose first divorce made his ex-wife the richest woman on the planet overnight. That's how massive his money pile is. For real, it feels like Jeff is working overtime to flip his image from that geeky tech dude to this cool billionaire boss rolling with celebrity heavyweights. Around 90 private jets are expected to swarm the local airports this week. That's a whole parade of showbiz stars, politicians, and finance tycoons. Folks are calling this the wedding of the century. No joke. Since the wedding is stretching over a bunch of days, they're stacking up different themed parties to keep people hyped. They're being secretive about the exact details, but they've been sending out mood boards to guests to tease what's coming. It's wild to think Jeff is trying this hard to impress the world, packing Venice with A-listers and over-the-top events, just to make sure everyone sees him as the billionaire with style.
This isn't a wedding. It's actually a $48 million power ritual. Jeff Bezos is not marrying for love alone. He's marrying to reshape legacy, control the narrative, and cement his place among the world's most untouchable. So this wedding is not actually about the cost. It is actually about curating an experience that reflects status and the evolvement of his identity. Because you can see here in 1997, he's hardly the man you would want to go on a gondola ride.
They even told folks to plan their outfits without giving them the locations for any of the wedding events over these 3 crazy days. A source spilled that guests only know what time to hop on the water taxis set up by Jeff and Lauren. Water taxis do fit Venice, but let's be real. They probably want all eyes on them, with cameras flashing while they cruise through the canals. Total flex move. I'd be losing my mind in a foreign country with no clue where to go next. But hey, that's billionaire games for you. And get this, guests aren't even allowed to have their phones. No phones at all. That part makes me wonder how Kim Kardashian is going to survive a whole weekend without snapping selfies or posting stories. That's next level. No location details, no phones, and no schedule. Just trust the water taxi and hope you end up at the right party. Jeff and Lauren are running this wedding like a top secret mission, and their guests got to play along, whether they like it or not.
I mean, are you kidding me? Come on, Jeff. What do you mean? Your guest's gonna bring the cell phone. How am I gonna know what's going on? Are you kidding me? Somebody please sneak a cell phone. We wanna know.
With so many billionaires packed into one spot, the locals in Venice are seriously ticked off. Folks are upset about all the power lines getting rerouted, the crazy boat traffic, and the extra security clogging up the city. They're straight up protesting these rich guests rolling in like they own the place. Local news says the city is even dishing out overtime pay to a bunch of police officers just to keep this wedding secure. Wild. The mayor of Venice gave a statement talking about what it means to host weddings in their beautiful city, especially with someone like Jeff and Lauren showing up with their mega rich entourage. But while the mayor might be on board with the richest man on earth flexing here, the people are not having it. There's a group called Extinction Rebellion out here shouting, "No space for Bezos," because they want him to finally pay up on his taxes. The tension is real. Jeff's wedding is turning Venice into a hot zone, and the people aren't staying quiet while the city bends over backward for billionaires. I gotta say, I agree. No one should have the kind of money Jeff Bezos is sitting on.
We're used to having weddings and celebrations. We had the G7 last year, the Holy Father came. This is a city that was born to do diplomacy and trade. This is the history of Venice, the meeting of people and culture.
For 3 whole days, Venice is basically going on lockdown, turning into a playground for pure luxury, while regular folks who live there get their movement totally restricted. That's wild! Protesters are demanding answers. How can someone just buy a whole city for days and cause chaos for everyone else? One protester even pointed out that Amazon is still under investigation for worker exploitation. And let's be real, Jeff's insane wealth comes straight from that. They're saying, if they can buy Venice for 3 days, these super rich can pay taxes. And honestly, they've got a point. These billionaires flexing while everyone else deals with the fallout is enough to make anybody mad. This government is bending over backward for billionaires without even stopping to think about whether letting them take over an entire city might cause chaos. They should be asking if this creates a public order mess instead of turning Venice into some billionaire's playground.
Not as a city anymore, but as a big theme park, a big kind of private dance hall, where you can just hire parts of it, or in this case, all of it is exactly the thing.
Sure, tourism is cool, but letting people rent an entire city, that's crossing the line. With the Italian government backing Jeff Bezos, the people are stepping up and making their voices heard in powerful ways. They're out there shouting, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more.
That billionaire Jeff Bezos is having a $50 million wedding in Venice, Italy this weekend, but what you may not know is that you're paying for it. Republican members of Congress this weekend are trying to jam through a billionaire budget that gives millions and millions and millions of dollars in tax breaks to Jeff Bezos, paid for by kicking working class Americans off of their health care. Bezos is getting 100 jets, 80,000 roses for his wedding, and Republicans want to throw more money his way. We've got to stop it. We've got to call it.
Props to all the folks in Venice holding it down and protesting. I'd be right there with you if I could. If you're in Italy or Venice and you've seen this madness go down, drop a comment and tell your story. These small-scale protests have been popping up all over, and people are not staying silent. They're going all in on Jeff Bezos, making sure he knows Venice isn't just another place for billionaires to show off. Looks like even Elon Musk's haters are linking up with these protest groups just to drag Jeff through the mud. This past Wednesday, activists sent a float drifting through the canals. It showed a mini mannequin of Jeff Bezos hugging an Amazon box with fists full of fake dollars. I can just imagine Jeff losing it over seeing these funny little art pieces clowning on him floating all over Venice. Local activists had actually planned a bigger protest for Saturday, hoping to block the wedding guests from reaching the venue by jamming the canal with their own boats. But they switched things up and went for a march from the train station instead, saying they'd already scored a win since Jeff's team was forced to move the wedding location after the protests got so intense. One activist promised the protest would be strong, decisive, but peaceful, keeping it powerful without going violent. Besides all these floating protests, they even threatened to fill the canals with inflatable crocodiles to mess up the path for the celebrity guests trying to arrive. That would have been a scene. People out here are getting real creative with these protests, refusing to let billionaires take over their city without a fight. Venice is making sure Jeff and his rich squad can't just roll through without hearing their voices loud and clear. Part of why they had to switch up the wedding venue is because Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's daughter, is attending, and that means Secret Service protection rolling in heavy. Activists said they felt like they scored a big win by forcing the change, since their crocodile initiative, the plan to fill the canals with inflatable crocs, might have made Venice look bad. That's why they changed the location, even though the authorities might try to blame it on global tensions or the war. Venice officials have cranked up security big time, locking down pedestrian access and water traffic near the Thursday night parties starting at 4:30 in the afternoon.
In Venice have been protesting for weeks about the upcoming wedding of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. Some locals have already started protesting the highly anticipated wedding. One group even hung a banner with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' name crossed out with a red X from a bell tower overlooking the Venice Lagoon. The activist group No Space for Bezos wrote on Facebook, "Venice is a living city, not a venue for rent to the highest bidder." The banner was eventually removed. They also plastered plastered posters and stickers around the city, calling for protests every weekend this past month. The group said it is ready to throw themselves into the canal if necessary. Venice's mayor Luigi Brugnaro criticized the protesters, calling them a small minority just looking for attention. He praised the couple's decision to marry in Venice, noting that the wedding's economic impact could be worth millions of dollars. Critics have also condemned the event for contributing to the privatization of parts of the city, which is already under strain from mass tourism.
It's pretty clear the government and city officials are bending over backward to make sure Jeff Bezos and his people get a smooth ride through this luxury circus. But no matter how hard they try to cover it up, the voices of the people will always break through. That's exactly what's happening out there, loud and clear. While Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner live it up in the middle of this billionaire dreamland, I hope they catch a glimpse of the protesters and remember they're living in a whole different reality than the rest of us. Venice is trying to speak out, and no amount of security is going to drown out that message. But I really want to hear what you think about this so-called royal wedding down in the comments. Honestly, I can't stand calling it that. These two aren't royalty to us. Royalty is something you look up to, like a queen or a king who actually gives back to their people. Jeff Bezos, he's made stacks off the United States, but has he ever truly given back the way a real king would? I don't think so. So drop your thoughts below. Let's sound off together. Do you think this billionaire blowout is worth it, or just another flex with no heart behind it? And don't forget to subscribe to NoFilter for daily fresh takes on all the wildest celebrity gossip. Hit that like button, share this video, and leave your comments because we upload the hottest celebrity tea every single day. See you in the next one.
Why would you literally hire an entire island in Venice to wear this and have carpet at your wedding?
Jeff Bezos' wedding turned into a straight-up circus. His wife, Lauren Sanchez, was so hungry for fame that she dragged him and a bunch of big-name celebrities into this flashy $50 million wedding that loads of people are calling straight-up tacky. Everyone who showed up was basically on display, like they were at some wild red carpet event. A few folks seemed to enjoy the carefully staged PR madness, but others walked away feeling embarrassed after the whole spectacle. Let's break this down. This wedding was clearly a plan to crank up their celebrity status. Nothing about it felt natural. It was all mapped out like a marketing scheme. I checked out Lauren Sanchez's Instagram just before the wedding, and wow, she had posts barely getting a few hundred likes, even though she's got over 1 million followers. That was shady for real. It didn't add up, and it made me wonder what kind of hype she was trying to build. Right after she tied the knot, Lauren wiped out all her old posts and left up just 2 shiny new ones. Looks like this is the start of a whole new chapter for them. If Bezos is trying to rebrand himself as the cool guy now, it's kind of wild. Somebody on Reddit even asked, do you think Jeff Bezos paid all those celebs to come to his wedding? Drop a comment if you think he actually did. I mean, come on, he's one of the richest dudes on the planet. He can afford anything. Another person chimed in, saying it probably wasn't straight up cash payments, but the favors had to be insane. Somebody else said, that sounds about right. Their travel and hotels were probably handled too. Another commenter thought maybe some folks got paid, while others just had their jets and fancy suites covered, since the guest list was packed with the richest of the rich. One person claimed there was definitely some slick PR behind this whole stunt. It popped up in too many news outlets to feel real because, let's be honest, it seemed like barely anybody cared for real. Maybe Lauren pushed for all this since she's chasing that dream. It wouldn't surprise me if she wants to live like a Kardashian. Another person even wrote, both want to be American royalty so bad. Let's keep it real. Most of these rich power players want to recreate the Kennedy vibe without having a drop of their charm, style, or class. They're loaded with cash, but now they're bored out of their minds, just sitting around, staring at each other, trying to seem relatable.
Oh, there he is. That was definitely Jeff Bezos. There's Lauren Sanchez waving. So in that boat right there, you see the Italian flag. You see security actually right behind. We just saw Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez wave to the crowds.
It's an impossible city. It can't exist. And yet here it is.
But I gotta call out what's up with Lauren Sanchez. Look, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Sure, she was a pretty bride, but something about her face looked off. Did she get some work done? Or has she always looked like that? It felt heavy on that Kardashian wannabe look. Almost giving cat lady vibes before going full Catwoman. It's wild. We'll get into all the random celebs who showed up to this chaos in a minute. But first, I have to talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. What a mess. This dude is always preaching about climate change and saving the planet. But then he's chilling in the same room as the people who basically run the world and could actually do something about it. And he stays silent. Plus, he pulled his hat down so low, there were barely any clear pics of him arriving on that boat to the wedding. That right there shows what a hypocrite he can be. Like, seriously, can I even say this on YouTube? Man, if you're gonna roll with these people while ignoring everything you preach, at least show your face. Own it. Folks were clowning on Leonardo's hat because he even rocked it at the actual wedding. He looked so awkward, like he was thinking, no one knows I'm at Jeff Bezos' wedding. Yes, we do, bro. Somebody cracked a joke saying, she's 26. And honestly, that's scarily on point. Then you hear people saying, save the planet for free Prime members? Yeah, right. It's really for the rich elites building bunkers somewhere while the rest of us are left to suffer. One person pointed out how funny it was that Leo showed up in an all-black cap. So classy of him to switch up his usual baseball hat just for this event. Total respect move, I guess. Someone else joked that Amazon is the most eco-friendly company on the planet. Which, come on, that's the biggest lie ever. Nothing about that makes sense. These people act like they're heroes, but the second they get a private invite, they forget about all their so-called values. How can you be so deep in a project like Before the Flood and then turn around clapping and grinning with Jeff Bezos and his billionaire crew? Straight up hypocrisy. Somebody even posted on Reddit about Bezos' wedding guests getting hyped over an Amazon worker crawling down the aisle with the rings tied to their collar. Wild. And the carpet, dead on. That same gray carpet showed up in Lauren's shiny new celebrity era. She actually landed the cover of Vogue. Rocking her wedding dress solo, if you can believe that, that's a massive win for her. But I can't help wondering if Anna Wintour stepping down from Vogue right before this wedding had something to do with it.
No, this was Anna Wintour's final straw. This is why she stepped down from Vogue. Why would you literally hire an entire island in Venice to wear this and have carpet at your wedding? Did they just take this from the Amazon offices? The more you look at it, the more you can't unsee this corporate carpet. Is a prime example of loads of money but no style and no taste. We've gone for like the most expensive option with everything and it's just not working.
Maybe Anna just couldn't bring herself to co-sign Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos for that big cover moment. It's giving major, I can't support this circus vibes. I got a hunch Anna wasn't happy and decided to dip out fast instead of watching these two try to brand themselves as American royalty. This whole thing feels like a carefully crafted PR fantasy, and watching them force it into the mainstream is straight up jaw-dropping. I gotta break down all the random celebrities who showed up at this wild event. For real? What do these people even talk about together? It makes me think this whole thing was staged PR because these stars don't really move in the same circles. They've got their own worlds, their own crews. So seeing them mashed together was bizarre. Like seriously, Sydney Sweeney, what were you even doing there?
A-lister after A-lister this morning: Oprah, the Jenners and Kardashians, Tom Brady, Usher, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jerry Seinfeld, Sydney Sweeney, the list goes on. Roughly 200 people were reportedly in attendance. A source tells people at the ceremony started with a performance by Matteo Bocelli. Lady Gaga also there, expected to perform this evening.
Tons of people were going in on Lauren's look. And I mean, that should be expected. The bride is always the main focus, right? But the comments were savage, picking apart every detail of what she wore. This whole wedding was dripping in forced hype, and the celebs just added another layer of drama to the scene. Best day of her life, right? Freshly married, feeling like she landed her young knight in shining armor. But let's be real, that dress was kinda odd for a summer wedding in Italy. It looked way more winter, super covered up and tight, almost made her look older than she is. But hey, at least it was conservative and classy. I'll give her that. What really blew my mind was that she let them publish that photo with the staff in the background, just standing there like, are we free to go, Miss Sanchez? I mean Bezos. That was wild. And check out this shot of the happy newlyweds. Gotta say, her body was on point, no denying that. You could see every curve showing through that Dolce & Gabbana gown. She was definitely serving. But the carpet, though? It looked straight up like an office rug. Not a wedding vibe at all. Super weird. And it's so bizarre to invite a bunch of random famous faces you barely even know to watch you on what's supposed to be your most intimate day. That makes the whole thing feel even more staged. Everything about this wedding screamed carefully crafted spectacle instead of genuine celebration. You know what? Congrats to the newly hitched picture-perfect couple. I can't even say that with a straight face. Whew.
I can appreciate how beautifully made this is, but I just don't like it. I don't like her or Jeff Bezos for that matter, so I'm a little bit biased.
If you stare into Lauren's eyes too long, you start feeling something. We gotta keep it moving. I'm not sure how we ended up here, but let's talk about Ivanka Trump showing up. And honestly, I liked her dress way more than some of the other looks we'll see later. Kris Jenner also pulled up, and tons of people were hyping her gown. But someone slid in with a shady comment saying, she looks great, but she does look her age, which is so messy, especially since just a few weeks ago, everyone was praising Kris for that fresh Christian facelift. The internet stays flip-flopping, and you just know these people eat it up. But I guess after a few weeks of all that action, everything started settling back in place. Still, I gotta say Kris looked really good here. Her hair was on point. And of course, there was Corey Gamble, her lifelong sidekick, chilling close by.
Wearing a Valentino Spring 2006 worn on the runway originally by Gemma Ward. I love that she did not wear a necklace and just the earrings with the hair up. Here's another look at the dress on the runway.
And Ray Piner too. I grabbed a couple pics of Khloe, and tell me why she looks like she's sneaking off to do something she shouldn't be doing. She rocked this giant pink puffy outfit that looked straight up suffocating. I'd be ripping that thing off too if I were her. Then you see Kim, and that dress? It's getting tired at this point. She always goes for those same super tight fits. Nothing new. Plus, she looked absolutely miserable. No smile, nothing. At least Khloe looked like she was having a halfway decent time. But Kim was stone cold the whole day. And a bunch of folks were scratching their heads over Kylie's dress, trying to figure out what she was even going for. This whole guest list was a fashion roller coaster. It looked like Kylie's dress even had a rip in it. Plus, it was giving off the same vibe as Lauren Sanchez's dress, which is kind of awkward.
It out that Kylie's dress seems to have a rip there, whether intentional or not. I just don't think it looks good.
Honestly, Lauren might have looked better if she'd just worn something like that in white, minus all the sleeves and extra fluff. But some folks thought Kylie's look was a little out of line for a wedding anyway. Orlando Bloom showed up solo. No Katy Perry, but he looked sharp in a classic tux. I low-key think there's a world where him and Kim could vibe together. Like, they might even look good as a couple. Is that too messy? Drop a comment. I'm curious. Oprah was also there, and she always sticks to that same color palette. Pinkish or purplish tones never fails. But she rocked it, looking fabulous as usual. Ellie Goulding came through too, and I almost didn't even recognize her. It looks like she's been hitting the gym hard because she was toned up and glowing. This crowd was such a strange mashup. From talk show royalty to pop stars, Usher was there too, and I actually liked his vibe. The color he picked was giving major Kim Kardashian Skims energy, super sleek. He pulled it off, but honestly, why was he even there? Straight up PR move, no doubt. Tom Brady also showed up in all black, and I'm not sure that was his best choice. It kind of gave off Skeletor vibes. Hope he's doing okay though. I don't really know what's happening in his personal life, but hey, sending him good vibes just in case. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but still. And let's talk about Sydney Sweeney. She popped up with her whole Sweeney squad, and I still don't get why she was there, but she did look super cute. No denying that. Her dress was a bit Macy's prom night compared to the rest of the crowd, but she pulled it off with that girl next door charm. This guest list was all over the place, packed with randoms who looked like they barely knew each other, all roped into this wedding spectacle for the cameras. She can rock whatever she wants, especially if she's showing off those swannies. Bill Gates, though, he looked exactly like what you'd get if you asked an AI, "Show me a billionaire." Plain as day, that's him. This wedding had folks talking left and right because it was just so over the top. Word on the street was the price tag hit $50 million, but I heard on TikTok it might have been more like $48 million. Still wild. Even Tipper Gore couldn't help but throw shade, commenting on their wedding announcement with, "Welcome to the 80s when big hair and conspicuous consumption ruled. Apparently Tacky is back." That was a classy way to drag them. Honestly, these people don't seem to have any limits. Lauren Sanchez used to be a reporter, working hard, hustling, and now she's stepped into a new era of never having to lift a finger again. And she wants what she wants. Lucky for her, her man's pockets run deep enough to make anything happen. Oh, and someone pointed out that it looks like she already upgraded her ring, barely days after getting married. That's next level.
People kind of lost their minds when I called Lauren Sanchez's engagement ring small. This is her engagement ring. But honestly, Jeff must have seen that video because he upgraded her. She did not get a traditional wedding band like the rest of us. She got a wedding ring, which is legitimately triple the size of her pink diamond engagement ring. This rock is massive. I approve. It's incredible. It covers like from knuckle to knuckle.
This whole thing feels like a scripted soap opera playing out in real life, and these two are eating up every second of it with no shame. Just in case you were stressing, don't worry, all the celebs made it home safe and sound. Word is, there were around 90 private jets flexing at this wedding. No joke. There was even a tracker following Kim Kardashian's flight back to LA. And it looked like it cost around $33,000 for an 11-hour trip. Makes you wonder if Kim would even pay for that herself. I wouldn't be surprised if Bezos picked up the tab to keep everyone happy. Meanwhile, regular folks are out here fighting over whether kids deserve free lunch or if seniors can get decent health care. It's wild how the rich roll around in private jets while people struggle to cover basic needs. This is the real rich versus poor showdown, and folks need to open their eyes to how far apart these worlds really are. That's what this commentary lays down, and honestly, how could you even disagree? Sarah dropped a comment saying, "The amount of people that could have been helped with the money blown on this wedding makes me feel sick." And that sums it up perfectly. Most folks seem to agree that this wedding was ridiculous for no good reason unless the plan was to kickstart their influencer dreams or launch their wannabe celeb careers. But I doubt the public is going to keep feeding into this hype much longer. I know I'm personally already getting tired of it, but hey, I want to hear what you think down in the comments. Spill it all. Also, make sure you subscribe to NoFilter right now, because we drop the juiciest, most up-to-date videos every single day. Hit that like button, share this with your crew, and leave your thoughts below. Catch you in the next one, right here at NoFilter.
Jeff Bezos' wedding in Venice is hideous.
Yo, we gotta talk about the straight-up chaos that went down at Jeff Bezos' wedding. This wasn't just a big wedding, it was a jaw-dropping, wild, over-the-top event that had everyone talking. Folks online are roasting them hard, saying money clearly can't buy you class. They're tearing Lauren apart for her dress, her massive ring, even her entire vibe. And on top of that, protesters showed up to stir the pot, making this whole scene even messier. We're about to break down all the wild stuff people have been saying about this ridiculous wedding. So, in case you didn't know, Jeff Bezos is the big boss who founded Amazon and stacked up billions to become one of the richest dudes on the planet. Back in 2021, he quit running Amazon so he could focus on other stuff, like Blue Origin. Yeah, the company trying to shoot celebrities into space. Remember when they were talking about sending Katy Perry to orbit? That's his operation, no joke. Jeff's deep in the celebrity world now. He's been seen rolling through the biggest events, from the Met Gala to the Cannes Film Festival to all kinds of after parties. This guy's been hanging with A-listers like Beyoncé, Kim Kardashian, and Leonardo DiCaprio. He's basically living in VIP mode since he ditched the Amazon grind. Jeff's gone full Hollywood with his new lifestyle. Now let's dive deep into what went down lately, because this wedding drama is out of control. Well, Jeff is catching heat for tying the knot with Lauren Sanchez. And this heat is serious. These two first crossed paths through work. Lauren was running her company, Black Ops Aviation, doing wild aerial filming gigs, while Jeff was getting deeper into aviation and media through Amazon and his space project, Blue Origin. But here's where the drama pops off. Back in early 2019, Jeff and his wife of 25 years, Mackenzie, announced they were splitting up. And bam! Right after that, the National Enquirer dropped leaked texts and photos exposing Jeff's thing with Lauren, who was married to a Hollywood agent. It turned into a straight-up cheating scandal that blew up everywhere. Things got even messier when Lauren's brother Michael got dragged for allegedly leaking those private messages to the tabloids. Jeff fired back, claiming he was being blackmailed, and even dropped a blog post accusing the Enquirer's parent company of extortion. Like, this was a whole soap opera for real. Still, Jeff and Lauren didn't flinch. They went public with their love and stayed solid, riding through the drama until now. But over the weekend, their wedding went viral. Jeff and Lauren threw this mega luxe wedding in Venice that had everyone side-eyeing them. From the spot they chose to all the symbolism dripping from every corner, folks had plenty to complain about. People were out here blasting them online, and the budget was rumored to be a mind-blowing 20 to 25 million bucks. This turned their big day into a full-blown controversy circus. I've been hearing wild numbers flying around about how much this wedding actually cost. Some folks say it was in the $50 to $60 million range. Others are tossing out a jaw-dropping $500 million price tag. Forbes is sticking with $20 to $25 million, though. Either way, the price was nuts. The most high-profile A-list guests pulled up for this wedding, and people had plenty to say. Locals in Venice were mad, accusing Jeff and Lauren of trying to straight up take over their city. This wasn't just a one-night thing either. The wedding was planned as a multi-day blowout with around 200 guests flooding in. Venice officials claimed they could easily handle the wedding since the city hosts major events all the time, but the pushback was still real. Locals and activists felt frustrated about the disruption and were sick of seeing rich tourists prioritized over regular people just trying to live. The No Space for Bezos protest movement went off, accusing local leaders of letting billionaires basically privatize pieces of Venice for their own fun. Officials shot down rumors that Jeff's team had booked up huge numbers of gondolas and water taxis. But that didn't stop the protests. Activists plastered anti-Bezos posters and banners all across the city, even on historic landmarks. Venice was fired up, and this wedding turned into a symbol of all the things locals say are broken about how billionaires throw their money around. A ton of environmental groups were out there raising their voices against this wedding too. During the actual wedding weekend, Jeff and Lauren threw a huge, flashy pre-wedding bash in Venice that had everyone's jaws on the floor, but not in a good way. The vibe was off for a lot of folks. While they were partying it up, activists climbed poles right nearby and dropped a giant banner screaming, "The 1% ruins the world." Another sign went viral that took a shot straight at them, saying, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax." That one hit people deep, especially locals who already feel like Venice is turning into a rich person's playground. Security was on full lock the day of the wedding, bracing for even more protests. Jeff tried to keep things chill by tossing out donations to some environmental groups and even handing water and ice cream to reporters baking in the heat outside. But even with all those moves, folks were still fired up and angry about this crazy, over-the-top wedding. The whole thing left a bad taste, with locals feeling like their city had been sold out for billionaire bragging rights. Now, this whole wedding didn't totally wreck Venice. It didn't shut down the city or block off huge areas, but it still felt like a straight-up slap in the face for a lot of people. Venice is already struggling with deep problems, like locals getting pushed out because of sky-high costs and nonstop crowds from heavy tourism. In this tense situation, seeing billionaires and celebs throwing a flashy in-your-face party right in public had folks boiling mad. To so many locals, it just looked like another rich outsider flex, turning their city into a playground while ignoring the real struggles everyday Venetians go through to survive. And it wasn't just the chaos on the ground. The online drama was just as wild. People were tearing apart every tiny detail about this wedding on social media. Folks were talking about how even if they dropped millions on it, one thing was screaming loud and clear: money can't always buy taste. It became a symbol of everything that feels unfair to regular people watching billionaires celebrate in their faces while they deal with rent hikes, overcrowding, and being priced out of their own hometown. The ceremony itself turned into a whole meme factory, thanks to a carpet that folks said straight up looked like a gray, depressing office floor. People were losing it. Like, You've got guests strolling through one of the most stunning cities on the planet, only to land at a billionaire's wedding with a floor that looked like an industrial walkway. That's wild. Nobody could wrap their heads around it. Some people tweeted, "Millennial gray Amazon warehouse carpet at your billionaire wedding is an insane dead inside choice." Others were like, "Everybody's talking about the outfits, but can we please talk about the millennial gray housescape carpet? $50 million. And it looks like your local HR block went extra for Mother's Day." Folks were seriously clowning on it, wondering why Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez would pick what looked like a gloomy office carpet for their big day.
I need to say something real quick. This wedding, this Jeff Bezos wedding in Venice, is hideous. It is so hideous and tacky and classless, and it just goes to show you can have all the money in the world, but not an ounce of style or class.
And Lauren's wedding look got dragged too. She rocked a custom corset gown and even landed a cover story in Vogue. But that did not save her from the internet. People went in saying, "It's wild that you can have all that money and still can't buy taste."
The Jeff Bezos Amazon wedding shows that when people who don't have any taste are given unlimited budget and no constraints. The wedding dress, absolutely hideous. The makeup, crazy. That gray carpet outside, wild.
And they even linked the drama to Anna Wintour stepping down as Vogue's editor-in-chief just days before, joking, "Anna Wintour left Vogue USA. Now the reason is clear."
Just know this was Anna Wintour's final straw. This is why she stepped down from Vogue. Why would you literally hire an entire island in Venice to wear this and have carpet at your wedding? Did they just take this from the Amazon offices?
The whole thing became a viral moment for how out of touch and awkward it all looked, making people wonder how a couple with billions could pull off a wedding that gave off discount office vibes. Now let's talk about Lauren's ring, because this thing had the internet going crazy. Her enormous flashy rock went viral in seconds, and folks could not believe their eyes. People were like, "Yeah, it's obviously worth a fortune, but it straight up looks like cheap costume jewelry. How do you even function with a giant chunk of diamond strapped to your finger like that?" Folks were joking there's no way she can bend her finger, and that thing's gotta weigh a ton. It looked so over the top that people were wondering if she'd ever even wear it again, or if it was just for the wedding flex. From what folks could see, it seemed like she had a bunch of different rings, but this one was so massive, it stole all the attention. The whole wedding, from the ring to the carpet to the wild celebrity guest list, turned into one giant roast session online. Everyone was clowning the details, and the internet did not hold back for a second.
Let me get this straight. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, you have a 200-person wedding, and it's all celebrities? That's who you want seeing you celebrate your union of love in this relationship you're supposed to spend the rest of your life in? You don't have any friends or family? You don't have any actual meaningful connections and relationships with real human beings? I'm not talking about celebrities. Oprah Winfrey's there, Gayle King, all of the Kardashians got an invite, even Corey. Orlando Bloom, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Brady, Ellie Goulding was there, the Lights girl. Sydney Sweeney. I laughed when I saw Sydney Sweeney. What do you mean your friend? You know Sydney Sweeney well enough that you want her at your wedding? You're 40 years older than you. When do you guys hang out? This was all clearly just for clout and to have a list of famous people at your wedding. You don't have any real meaningful connection.
There were so many famous faces there, but even their star power couldn't distract people from how awkward and flashy the whole scene came off. Sydney Sweeney, the Kardashians, Leonardo DiCaprio, basically every big name who's ever crossed paths with Jeff was at this wedding. That's why the spotlight was on them, and the drama just kept snowballing. So I'm dying to hear what you think about all of it, from the wild wedding details to that giant ring and Lauren's dress. Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear every single opinion. And don't forget to smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe to NoFilter so you never miss the tea. We've got 2 more parts breaking down every juicy detail of Jeff Bezos' $50 million wedding. You do not want to miss it. Hit that bell so you'll know the second they drop. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.
The Jeff Bezos Amazon wedding shows that like when people who don't have any taste are given like unlimited budget and no constraints.
After 2 long years of waiting, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez finally tied the knot. At 55, Lauren was still shocked herself. Go, girl! That she'd be walking down the aisle again, but this wasn't just any wedding, no way. Picture endless private jets, a monster super yacht, a sea of A-list celebs, even royals in the mix, plus protesters trying to stir up trouble. This was the ultimate over-the-top party. Want to know how one of the world's richest men sealed the deal? Let's break down the wildest event Venice has ever seen. When you're Jeff Bezos, rolling up in style isn't optional, it's a total must. And trust, Jeff and Lauren delivered big. Mr. Bezos, the billionaire Amazon boss at 61, and Lauren, the best-selling author at 55, pulled off a jaw-dropping arrival in Venice by helicopter days before their insane celebration even kicked off. Crazy, right? Venice looked like a fantasy city that shouldn't exist, yet there they were, making it real. The couple checked into the legendary Amen Hotel, dripping in luxury, with rooms overlooking the Grand Canal that start at a chill $4,500 per night. This was just the kickoff to what folks are already calling the wedding of the century, with a mind-blowing price tag rumored to be over $50 million. More than 90 private jets dropped guests at Marco Polo Airport, while others rolled in on mega yachts stealthily docked around Venice. And that guest list? Straight fire. Around 200 A-listers from the worlds of entertainment, business, and politics packed the scene. Among the flashiest arrivals were Kim Kardashian, her sister Khloe, and their mom Kris Jenner, who landed on June 26th looking fierce. Kim rocked a gray Balenciaga two-piece with massive shades that screamed superstar. Khloe was serving serious glam in a strapless leopard print dress, and Kris kept it classy with a black ruffled gown that turned heads. The Kardashians came ready to steal the spotlight, switching up their outfits multiple times a day like they were on their own catwalk. Venice was basically their floating Met Gala. Orlando Bloom also made waves, spotted sharing a cozy hug with Kim. He rolled in solo, fueling rumors of a possible split from his fiancée Katy Perry, who couldn't make it thanks to her nonstop The Lifetimes tour. The drama was real. Rolling up to the scene were even more A-list legends. Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, Karlie Kloss, Usher, Tom Brady, and of course, Bezos' fellow billionaire Bill Gates with his girlfriend in tow. Leonardo DiCaprio showed up too, keeping it chill in a cap while flying under the radar with his girlfriend, model Vittoria Soretti. Brooks Nader, Tommy Hilfiger, Sydney Sweeney, and even Queen Rania of Jordan made sure they had a spot at the hottest summer party ever. On Thursday night, Jeff and Lauren kicked off their wild multi-day wedding blowout in classic billionaire style. They picked a drop-dead gorgeous spot to launch it all, the cloisters of Madonna dell'Orto, a stunning 14th century church packed with masterpieces by Renaissance legend Tintoretto. But that was just scratching the surface. The real wow moment took place inside one of Venice's best-kept secrets, Scuola Grande di San Rocco. A place so exclusive even locals barely get to peek inside. And, Bezos wasn't about to let folks go hungry. A famous Neapolitan chef was on deck, firing up fresh, piping hot pizzas right on site. Because, come on, no Bezos party is complete without the absolute finest treats. By 6 p.m., the entire city was already on lockdown, traffic completely banned on nearby streets. Bezos showed up rolling deep with 10 bodyguards watching every move. No surprise there. The setting was pure historical magic. But Lauren Sanchez brought straight up high fashion heat. Her gown, a jaw-dropping Schiaparelli masterpiece that first turned heads at the Pitti Palace in Paris earlier this year. On the morning of the big day, Lauren stepped out looking like a boss in a sleek white suit, flashing a massive diamond ring plus a beaded bracelet showing off her fresh initials, LB. On Friday, it all went down. Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez finally said their vows. The intimate ceremony unfolded on the breathtaking island of San Giorgio Maggiore, pure romance vibes. And you know they had to go all out with a classic Venetian wedding twist, an opera show. They brought in none other than Matteo Bocelli, son of the legendary Andrea Bocelli, to light up the moment. At just 27, he kicked off the celebration with a soul-melting version of Elvis Presley's timeless hit, Can't Help Falling in Love. What a way to seal the deal. Later on, Lauren's two sons, Nico and Evan, proudly walked her down the aisle. Now let's get into the moment everyone was dying to see, that wedding gown. The groom was practically begging for a sneak peek before the ceremony, but Lauren wasn't having it. She wanted to keep that reveal a surprise. As you get a little older, not many things surprise you. I can't wait to see his face, she teased. Lauren stunned in a one-of-a-kind, long-sleeve Dolce & Gabbana gown that was pure art. Covered in delicate Italian lace, detailed with 180 hand-finished silk chiffon buttons, and rocking a dramatic mermaid skirt. She straight up confessed she felt like a princess in that masterpiece. The vibe took inspiration from Sophia Loren's iconic looks in the classic 1958 film Houseboat. Pure old-school glam. And here's a fun twist. This was actually the first formal dress Lauren ever wore that didn't flaunt her chest. A total switch-up from what people might expect. But she told Vogue it felt authentically me. To top off her killer bridal look, the former TV journalist borrowed some show-stopping Dolce Alta joyeria earrings from Morocco, crafted with 4 diamonds carved from a single stone and set in white gold. Oh, and for her, something blue. Perfection. Lauren had a secret touch, woven into her wedding style. She carried a keepsake from her Blue Origin spaceflight, a subtle and deeply personal tribute to the moment that brought her and Jeff tighter than ever. But she didn't stop there. She switched it up into a Rita Hayworth-inspired gown, then changed yet again into an Oscar de la Renta masterpiece, sparkling with a mind-blowing 175,000 crystals. And now it's official! The star even changed her Instagram name to Lauren Sanchez Bezos after the wedding, scrubbing all her old posts and dropping just 2 fresh ones, their first pics as Mr. and Mrs. Bezos. It was a simple but powerful message. We're married! Lauren shared, I am a different person than I was 5 years ago. Jeff hasn't changed me. Jeff has revealed me. I feel safe. I feel seen. He lets me be me. But here's the wild twist. According to a senior City Hall official, that epic ceremony actually didn't count under Italian law. It was purely symbolic. No legal weight. So insiders think Jeff and Lauren had already made it official back in the States, probably Florida, before taking their fairy tale to Venice. And here's a major piece of the puzzle. The prenup. With Bezos' net worth sitting around a jaw-dropping $220 billion, you better believe his team wasn't letting a single thing slip through the cracks. Word is, Jeff was ready to put a ring on it ASAP, but his lawyers slammed the brakes until every legal detail was locked, signed, and airtight. Still, paperwork aside, the wedding was bursting with love. Lauren described the vibe as super intimate, and that was no exaggeration. Guests even had to hand over their phones during the wedding events, especially for the main ceremony. Why? So everyone could be fully present, no distractions, just real moments shared in total privacy with their closest crew. That's the way to do it. And of course, the party didn't stop after the vows. No way! On Saturday night, the newlyweds threw a super exclusive Dolce Notte after party, complete with a pajamas-themed dress code for the grand finale. Lauren, now officially a billionaire's wife, rocked a jaw-dropping Atelier Versace masterpiece dripping with crystal mesh embroidery, finished off with a matching dressing gown that stole the spotlight. A source spilled that Jeff and Lauren wanted a chill, music-soaked night to send off their guests after days of wild celebration. And who else to set that vibe than their hand-picked favorite performers? Usher laid down those smooth vocals while DJ Cassidy kept the dance floor on fire all night long. At first, the after-party was supposed to go down at the historic Scuola Grande della Misericordia, but plans got flipped quick, and for a solid reason. A protest group was ready to flood the canals with inflatable crocodiles to crash the party and make a statement. But it wasn't just playful pranks causing stress. Security worries went through the roof after recent U.S. military actions, and with Ivanka Trump showing up, things got even more complicated. So the organizers had to pivot fast, moving the bash to the Arsenale, a medieval shipyard turned private art venue in Venice's Castello district. With raised bridges and boat-only access, the place was perfect for locking down security way tighter than Venice's packed city center ever could. Even so, activists still found a way to make sure their voices got heard. Nothing was going to keep them quiet, no matter how big the star power or how tight the gates. Right in the middle of St. Mark's Square, protesters threw down a dramatic wedding-themed demonstration with a masked bride and groom holding up bold signs blasting wealth inequality and climate neglect. One sign took a savage shot. The planet is burning, but don't worry. Here's the list of the 27 dresses of Lauren Sanchez. And yep, that's how many outfits she actually packed for Italy. Then, on June 24th, activists sent a life-size Jeff Bezos mannequin floating down a Venice canal, dressed head to toe in an Amazon jumpsuit and gripping wads of dollar bills. Meanwhile, Greenpeace made a powerful move, draping giant banners across St. Mark's Square that read, "If you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax." It was all part of a bigger protest led by the No Space for Bezos committee, who slammed the couple for turning Venice into a billionaire-only playground locked off from everyone else. Their anger? High-profile events like this keep pushing locals out of their own hometown, treating Venice like a stage set instead of a living, breathing community. They called out how these flashy weddings exploit Venice's beauty while ignoring the struggles of real residents just trying to get by. But not every Venetian was ready to protest. Some hotel owners and local officials were straight up hyped to welcome all those big spending guests. Some folks argued that Bezos' wedding was actually way better for Venice than the usual crush of overcrowded day trippers. Daniele Minto, vice president of the Venetian Hoteliers Association, straight up dismissed the protests, saying, "We're not talking about hundreds or thousands of people. We're talking about a few dozen." Mayor Luigi Brugnaro also recognized the backlash, but backed the decision to host Bezos, saying Venice has to stay open for all types of visitors. And to keep it fair, Bezos and Sanchez did make moves to give back. They sourced nearly 80% of their wedding supplies right there in Venice, from local food and flowers to handmade details, putting money back into the city's economy. Respect for that. And what about the gifts? That part had a twist. The couple didn't want the usual fancy presents. A snippet of their wedding invitation started buzzing online, making it super clear, please no gifts. Instead, they asked guests to celebrate the moment by donating to local causes, helping out different community organizations. But hey, that didn't mean guests walked away empty-handed. According to Vogue, Lauren Sanchez handpicked every detail for custom goodie bags packed with authentic Venetian treats. At the reception, the guys scored VB Venezia blue velvet slippers, while the ladies got plush, black, open-toe slippers straight from Amazon, a comfy symbol of the couple's worlds blending together. Talk about next-level hospitality. Life really is just beginning for them. So what's the big takeaway from this jaw-dropping, star-loaded spectacle? Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez didn't just plan a wedding, they pulled off a full-blown show that lit up and divided Venice for weeks. Whether you see it as the wedding of the century or just a flashy, out-of-touch flex, no one can deny it was a moment nobody will forget. Once in a lifetime. For real. But what about you? Was it the ultimate fairy tale or just way too much? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And yo, don't bounce without smashing that like button. If you are vibing with this deep dive, make sure you hit subscribe to NoFilter, because we bring you every single juicy celebrity update, sometimes even dropping 2 videos a day. We upload every day, so don't miss out. Like, share, comment, and catch you in the next one.
Why do I feel that one of the reasons Lauren Sanchez is getting so much hate right now is because she's another great example of a Latina stealing your men.
Lauren Sanchez has been plotting her over-the-top wedding for ages. This isn't her first billionaire husband either. After working as a reporter, she got tight with plenty of loaded men, including none other than Jeff Bezos. After their messy affair blew up with those wild leaked texts, they went ahead and threw what they claimed was the wedding of the century. Random celebrities were crawling around, some even hooking up just to flex with Bezos for the clout. Let's break this down. The more dirt I dig up about this wedding, the tackier it gets. Can you believe they threw a silk-themed party and handed out cheap black Amazon slippers to the women? Word is Jeff probably just clicked buy now himself. And for the men, they gave out these Vincia velvet slippers. I had to look them up because who even knows what that is, but they cost over $100. Like, why were the guys handed those when the women got Amazon specials? Makes no sense. The whole vibe screams random and messy, like they were trying way too hard to look fancy, but ended up exposing just how weird their taste really is. Those slippers were nice for the men, but the women just got random Amazon ones straight from the warehouse. Seriously, everything about this couple screams tacky by default. It makes me wonder, where exactly did Lauren Sanchez pop up from? Now she's everywhere thanks to this flashy wedding and being spotted with random celebs nobody even knew she rocked with. Like, we saw Katy Perry and Kim Kardashian tagging along on her bachelorette getaway, but I'm still not buying that they're as close as they want folks to think. There's clearly some hype being pushed here, no doubt. And I really want to rewind and dig into who Lauren Sanchez actually is. You might have heard her talk about her old reporter days, and just so you can get a taste of what kind of hard-hitting journalism she did, I found a throwback clip for y'all.
Not that I go that way, but you are one gorgeous girl.
You are so sweet. Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
I told you guys earlier, seriously, I wake up every morning, the first thing I do is like, oh my God, what is Jillian wearing?
Or not wearing.
Yeah.
And you have a
well, that's more the case.
You have a son, and you say to him, no, you're not watching cartoons today.
I make him go, earmuffs, earmuffs.
All right.
Earmuffs.
Allow me to say, I do go that way, and you're looking pretty good. Okay? All right.
What really jumped out, though I shouldn't even be shocked, is that Lauren's always had ties to plenty of rich dudes. She's been working those connections for a minute, making sure she stays in the billionaire orbit. Back in 2000, Lauren was with NFL star Tony Gonzalez, and they even had a son together. Lauren used to do a lot of sports broadcasting back then, which is probably how she crossed paths with Tony in the first place. And let's be real. Tony might not be Jeff Bezos level, but he's still worth a solid $50 million. That's no small change.
New Year's resolutions. I'm working out.
I
not.
never make them.
Said I would eat less. That's not happening. Said I would be nice for my husband. That's definitely not happening.
You did really well, though. I mean, to go all the way to the
But when
finals.
you say you're going to win the whole shebang and you don't,
Still not bad.
you get to gloat the other season.
Tony and Lauren never tied the knot, though. Instead, she ended up marrying this guy named Patrick. Now Patrick is seriously rich, like Hollywood powerhouse rich. He's one of the biggest talent agents out there and runs one of the most stacked agencies in the game. They had 2 kids together and stayed married for nearly 15 years. It makes total sense why she started landing more gigs after hooking up with Patrick, because he could basically industry plant her whenever he wanted. That kind of Hollywood plug can open doors for anybody. Patrick's got at least $1.9 billion to his name. Yeah, billionaire status for sure. So Lauren was already living in major comfort with her first husband, no doubt. That just makes it crystal clear why she's rolling even harder now, spending Jeff's cash, since he's got money stacked way beyond Patrick's. I'm pretty convinced she stepped out on Patrick with Jeff. And of course, Jeff was cheating on his own wife, too. Their whole messy relationship went public in January 2019. The exact same year, Lauren divorced Patrick and Jeff announced his split from Mackenzie Scott. What a coincidence, huh? Speaking of Mackenzie, she's Jeff's ex, and she's been out here doing some serious good. Since 2019, she's donated over $19 billion to around 2,000 nonprofits. That's massive. And let's not forget, she worked right alongside Jeff to build up Amazon, so she's absolutely entitled to that fortune. She turned the divorce into a mission to help the world while Lauren's out here throwing silk-themed parties. Wild difference.
Girl who could barely read. Like, I was the girl in class that when they called on me to read, I'd start sweating. I'd freak out. Yeah. And then, I'd try to read it before, and hopefully I didn't have to read out loud.
But Mackenzie seems to be living a whole different vibe compared to the foam parties on a super yacht. She doesn't need to throw a $50 million wedding just to flex. She'd rather drop that cash on charities. And honestly, that's pretty admirable. Yeah, she's still filthy rich, but at least she's giving back for real. And that's all documented, not just talk.
Bezos and Lauren Sanchez just threw a wild foam party on their $500 million yacht, right as protesters vow to block their wedding in Venice. While the world watches and critics grow louder, the couple is soaking in sun and soap, completely unfazed by the chaos surrounding them.
I've seen folks bragging about how they brought so much money back to Venice and to the people there, and sure, I can respect that, but Mackenzie's moves are actually legit, with receipts to prove it. She's putting those billions straight into action instead of just hyping it up. Lauren and Jeff's messy relationship went public in 2019, then they got engaged in May 2023, and now they're fresh off the altar, newly married. The contrast between Mackenzie's low-key giving spirit and Lauren's silk-themed flexing is wild. His comment said that Lauren Sanchez is smart, from the same generation as him, and makes him feel complete, which, hey, at least there's only about a 6-year age gap. He could have easily gone full creep mode and married some 20-year-old. So I guess that's one silver lining. Then someone else chimed in, so be chaotic. Got it. They were pointing out that Lauren was basically everything Jeff's ex-wife wasn't. For better or worse, I didn't even realize how messy their drama got until I looked deeper.
Do you want to know how Lauren Sanchez landed a rich man like Jeff Bezos? She is enthusiastic. She has a childlike exuberance. Why is this so alluring? I mean, he's the richest guy ever, so he can live this really exciting life. Life is full of routine. So when you have someone that comes along and makes you feel alive, that is extremely magnetic. Do you know the number one reason people cheat? It's to feel alive. So when someone like him can have someone like her who has been described as a force and just a little girl who's full of wonderment, and her favorite word is magical. That's magical.
Back in 2020, Jeff's girlfriend Lauren reportedly sent some personal text messages to her own brother, and those texts ended up getting leaked straight to the National Enquirer. What was she thinking? For some wild reason, her brother had these messages between Jeff and Lauren, and then straight up sold them off to spill the tea. The National Enquirer went to town publishing all the dirty details. It's super weird that Lauren would trust her own brother with those texts, only for him to flip them for cash. That family move was straight up scandalous. These messages were straight up wild. Stuff like, I want to smell you. I want to breathe you in. I want to hold you tight. I want to kiss your lips. I love you. I'm in love with you. And Lauren wrote to Jeff, I love you alive. Girl, I will show you with my body and my lips and my eyes very soon. That had the tabloids going off, making both of them look beyond messy. Turns out Lauren's own brother, Michael Sanchez, was actually indicted because they ended up suing the National Enquirer, which dragged out even more receipts from this whole twisted mess. There was even a nude bathroom selfie of Jeff, rocking nothing but his wedding ring and a white towel barely covering. Well, that image made its rounds and had folks straight up shocked. Look, nobody really needs to be digging this deep into what went down. They were clearly having an affair, sneaking around, doing their dirt, and yes, they cheated. But the personal texts and steamy photos, that should have stayed buried for real. The world didn't need to see Jeff in his towel moment. No matter how wild the story is, some drama is better left behind closed doors. Just picturing these two together is straight up weird. I came across a clip of Jeff Bezos laughing, a whole montage of it. That laugh is the definition of an evil, rich guy laugh, if there ever was one. Anyway, let's get into some of these after parties they threw once the wedding was over. They held these final get-togethers that kicked off around 7 p.m. and went all the way until 4 in the morning. They even had a pajama-themed party with everybody decked out in silk and those same Amazon slippers. Talk about keeping that Amazon branding strong. Best Dancer Award supposedly went to Jessica Alba, who was apparently killing it on the dance floor all night. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble were spotted getting their groove on too, tearing it up alongside everyone else. And one person even commented, okay, now that the festivities have ended, let's get back to solving real-life problems like homelessness, poverty, hunger, racism, and classism. And honestly, they're not wrong. The homelessness crisis in LA is heartbreaking. And while these billionaires are partying in silk, real people are struggling on the streets. Feels like a whole other world. Drop a comment if your city's struggling with homelessness too, because it feels like nobody's doing enough to help these folks. Meanwhile, celebs were linking up left and right at this wedding circus. At first, I figured maybe Orlando Bloom and Kim Kardashian would spark something, but turns out Orlando was way more into Sydney Sweeney. Orlando and Sydney were spotted strolling through Venice the next morning, and they both looked straight up wrecked. I mean, the hangover was written all over them. Sydney especially looked like she was in her own little zone, giving total Anna Delvey vibes with that dazed stare. There was just nothing there behind those eyes, like she was on a mission to find the strongest coffee in Italy and couldn't catch a break. Their morning after walk came right after they'd partied hard at the San Giorgio Island venue. You know, the one with that overhyped gray carpet everyone was raving about. You cannot tell me Sydney wasn't going through it because the struggle was real. Oh, and Ellie Goulding actually performed live at the reception. I gotta say, I love Ellie's voice, so at least that was a win in the middle of all this over-the-top chaos. It was kind of a weird scene for sure. But hey, Ellie Goulding fits right in with the Millionaire Squad, believe it or not. We'll get into the full guest list of rich folks who showed up soon. But first, here's a random clip of Orlando Bloom doing his thing.
Okay. I want pizza as well. Bufala for me, Orlando. Bufala. Yes.
If I were Sydney Sweeney, I wouldn't be getting my hopes up too high because Orlando was actually seen dipping out with some mystery woman after Bezos' party. Even though he claimed he wasn't out there trying to hook up or replace Katy Perry, looks like he might have found somebody new. And from the way she was cheesing in the back of that water taxi, she was definitely feeling it. Fresh off his shocking split from Katy Perry, Orlando ended up enjoying the night with this mystery date right after Jeff and Lauren's crazy wedding bash. But here's the kicker. The party had to shut down earlier than planned thanks to a freak thunderstorm in Venice. As soon as Orlando and that woman got on the boat, they got all cozy like the storm had them extra close. These after-party hookups were as chaotic as the wedding itself. And that's when the paparazzi shots started rolling in. After the wedding reception, Sydney Sweeney, Orlando Bloom, Tom Brady, and some of the Kardashian crew kept the party going at some fancy palace until 3 in the morning. But honestly, I don't think Sydney was stressing about whether Orlando took that mystery girl home or not. She's the type to test the waters and make sure she knows exactly what she wants before settling down again. Word is, she was even spotted dancing it up with Tom Brady at the wedding. And there's also a report she was tearing up the dance floor with newly single Brooks Nader, too. Sydney is playing the field. And honestly, good for her. She was engaged to that dude Jonathan Davino for ages. So it's kind of refreshing seeing her out here living her best life, mixing it up with all these A-listers. It's giving total Taylor Swift energy, jumping around with all the biggest names without worrying about locking anything down too fast. And speaking of other stars, Usher was seen rocking this crazy long coat at the party. Like, I can't even believe that look. The entire event was just a non-stop celebrity circus, and Sydney made sure everyone saw her glow up in real time. Man, it was scorching hot in Venice, yet folks were still dressed up like it was a winter gala. Usher's coat straight up looked like pajamas. Maybe he was on his way to the silk party, who knows? His wife behind him looked so confused and honestly exhausted. And I don't mean that as a diss to Jennifer at all. I'm just saying a bunch of celebs looked dead tired by the end of this circus. The vibe was giving total Diddy freak-off energy, just wild and random. Tommy Hilfiger even showed up. But honestly, if you threw him into a random lineup, I probably wouldn't have guessed it was him at first. There's just something kind of off about his vibe. At one point, I swear he nearly fell straight into the canal. That water was inches away from turning into a designer disaster. Venice was not ready for Tommy taking a dip. Don't worry, and Grams was all good after that near fall. Shout out to all the grandpas tuning into this channel. Much love! Now, Oprah was there too, rocking her usual color palette. You know the deal, somewhere between beige, pink, and purple. She looked classy, no doubt, but girl never strays too far from that same shade range. And there was Gail in the background, as usual, looking a little lost and kinda left behind. I feel bad for her. She always seems confused or low-key stressed, and the cameras never catch her in a good moment. Then we had Kylie, Kendall, and Chris hopping into their water taxi, but I cannot with whatever was dangling off Kendall's head. It just felt so forced, like she was trying way too hard to make it a thing. Chris, on the other hand, was giving total Cruella de Vil vibes, but in the best possible way. And Kylie, you already know she's gonna show off that body every single time, no hesitation. Meanwhile, Kendall with that random hood situation made zero sense to me. Like, what was she even going for? These Venice looks were next level chaotic. This is exactly why I said they looked so wiped out. And can we please talk about this shot of Lauren Sanchez? Because I cannot believe that was her wedding dress. Drop a comment and tell me what you think of this look, because I'm honestly speechless.
I get it. You're marrying money, he has money, you have money. A nice little $10 million wedding could have been nice. Imagine donating that $25 million as a PR stunt to the people of Venice. Then maybe we all wouldn't hate you as much.
Most of her outfits this weekend were completely over the top, like she's trying way too hard to kick off her new celebrity influencer moment. This photo especially blew up because look at the folks standing behind her. Their faces say it all. I feel sorry for them. Seriously, like they might need a whole GoFundMe after being roped into that weird scene. And why were they dressed in those super outdated, stiff outfits? Like they just stepped out of a time machine. Some people were asking, why would Lauren even post this? Another person said it was giving total Handmaid's Tale vibes. And you know that story is all about women being treated like state property. From the looks on those people's faces, they were either scared stiff or straight up hating those outfits. What a mess. I can totally picture a world where these folks are actually normal with people, but the moment they saw that outfit, they had to be thinking, really? That's the one you're rocking? Anyway, let's talk cash. Here's the rundown of some of the richest guests who showed up. I don't even know half of these people, but of course, Scooter Braun made the list. Then there was Oprah, and I'm pretty sure Barack Obama was on that guest list too. Kylie Jenner was there flashing her billions, plus Jerry Seinfeld rolled through. Orlando Bloom was there, and Sydney Sweeney too. Turns out Sydney's got a fat $40 million to her name. I was shook. And Ellie Goulding, who they say is worth around $30 million, who knew she pulled that from that Lights song? Or maybe it's Lights Off these days since she's been hitting the gym and showing off that new buff look. I wanted to break down the big money contenders beyond the obvious like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, since we all know their stories by now. But don't sleep on Jeff's own dad, who ranked up there with the top money crew too. These folks stay stacked. Miguel Bezos was there too. And let's not forget, he cashed in big after investing a chunk of money into Amazon way back in 1995. He got rich right alongside his son, which kind of feels like the ultimate dream. Empire with your pops and come out billionaires together. Another billionaire spotted was Francois-Henri Pinault. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that whole name perfectly. He's got a wild $18 billion under his belt and owns brands like Gucci, Balenciaga, plus he's married to Salma Hayek. Salma really scored with that one. It's giving total Lauren Sanchez vibes. I swear I might have to do a deep dive on Salma one of these days because her whole story is stacked. And then there was Barry Diller, who I think landed around number 4 on the richest guest list. Barry used to run Paramount Pictures, Fox, and a ton of other Hollywood giants, which is how he stacked his fortune. He also backed Tinder, Expedia, and Match.com. Basically anything trending in media, he's invested in it. And of course, he's sitting on billionaire status now too. What really had me doing a double take was a photo of Barry and his wife with this headline floating around that said, "Barry Diller comes out as gay and in love with his wife." That one had my head spinning. These billionaire circles stay complicated. Man, I don't even know what to say about Barry's personal life. That headline alone was enough drama to leave me spinning. But before we wrap this up, I want to vibe check with you. What do you really think about Lauren Sanchez? Are you into her story, or does she give you that icky feeling? Because the internet is definitely split about her right now.
Why do I feel that one of the reasons Lauren Sanchez is getting so much hate right now is because she's another great example of a Latina stealing your man. Let's be so for real right now. She caught the biggest fish and you're like handling it well.
One comment I saw went, from Latina to another, that's definitely not the reason at all. Another person wrote, no babe, that is not what it is. No one wants Bezos, and us Latinas don't claim her at all. People are heated about how over the top and wasteful this wedding looked, and honestly, I can't blame them. But I want to hear from you. Spill your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Lauren leveling up from rich men to a billionaire and then all the way to a mega billionaire? That's a wild glow up no matter how you slice it. And yo, if you love drama served fresh every single day, then hit that subscribe button right here on NoFilter. We've got the juiciest celebrity gossip lined up daily, sometimes even 2 videos a day. So don't forget to like and drop a comment, and make sure you check out part 1 of our Jeff Bezos wedding breakdown. Catch you in the next one with